Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Father-Son Packers podcast, your source for Packers news, notes, and analysis. My name is Tommy, and I'm one of your hosts, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my dad, Matt. Dad, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm recovering from my 10-hour drive yesterday. Other than that, I'm doing great.
That's fantastic.
Well.
Yeah,
slept well after that drive yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big one. Definitely sleeping well after that. You know what I wasn't sleeping well after, though, Dad? Is this 40-40 Sunday night football tie that we're about to break down. We're about to go into this deep dive of the Packers' 40-40 tie against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. We're going to give you every little bit of analysis we can out of this game. A weird game. We have a lot to talk about. The Packers are now 2-1-1. It's going to be annoying saying their record for the rest of the year is also one of my takeaways.
I mean, we already probably don't have to worry about tiebreakers anymore for the rest of the season.
That's true. That is actually
we can just throw that out the window.
That is actually one benefit. The tiebreakers, we're not going to have to do any weird, like, okay, what's the conference record? What's the head-to-head? What's the like opponent record?
No longer have
to
pay attention to common opponents and in division and all the rest of that crap.
Yeah, now we got a stupid tie in our record. But anyway, so we're going to talk all about that and whether or not football games should even end in ties. But before we get into any of that, just wanted to pitch a couple of things. If you like what you hear, subscribe, whether that's Apple, YouTube, Spotify. Tell a friend, leave a comment, leave a review, etc., etc. Follow us on Blue Sky at Father-Son Packer for updates when new episodes are out, updates on Packers roster moves, updates on Packers injury reports, etc., etc., etc. One-stop shopping for everything Titletown. But anyway, that kind of does it for the spiel, for the pitch. Dad, I guess we should just get into it. But first, a couple of news items, a couple of roster moves, and a couple of injury updates. The first is that the Packers have cut tackle Brant Banks after signing him last week. So a bit of an odd, sign him because Tom wasn't available, but then immediately release him. So a little odd there because they signed him from the practice squad. It'll be interesting to see if he goes back to the practice squad now. Just kind of something to keep an eye on there.
Yeah. That's kind of my assumption is they just didn't want to use an elevation and they're expecting him to get him back in the practice squad. I don't know.
I guess we'll see. And then Matt LaFleur had a press conference today, just his standard weekly one, where he talked about the availability of Banks and Tom. And they don't really know if they're going to be available post-bye yet, but they'll have a better idea of that Monday, is what he said. And also that they haven't yet made a decision on whether Christian Watson will practice next week or not, and still have a few days to make that decision. But anyway, Dad, let's start talking about this game. Injuries during this game. This was also a scoregami, also 40-40 tie.
We can't bury the lead. The lead is scoregami.
Yes, and I think is the second highest scoring tie of all time, if I remember correctly.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think there was like a 43-43 or something like that maybe once. But anyway, let's start with the negatives, though. Injuries during this game. Devontae Wyatt left the game with a knee injury after what looked like he landed on his kneecap chasing the ball carrier. He came into the game with a knee injury already, so maybe a re-aggravation of that. LaFleur called him week to week in his presser today. Parsons went into the injury tent, but came back into the game, and he actually said later that they were looking at his head, but he didn't want to go in the medical tent, pretty much is what he was saying. They made him go in as an independent spotter, said they needed to look at his head for a concussion, but he was like, no, it was my back. It wasn't my head. But obviously have to keep an eye on that back as well, though, given that he's kind of been nursing that, facet joint sprain, since he's been traded to the Packers. So something to keep an eye on there. And then Nate Hobbs left the game with a concussion.
You and I were both watching that. It's like, spotter, hello, spotter. He's clearly shaking the cobwebs
Hobbs,
out.
Yeah, Hobbs was very clearly had hit his head on that play, and it took him a good they did do it, so props to them, but it did take him a good quick second to be wait a minute. I was if I can see it on TV, y'all should be able to see it. But anyway, I get that they're watching, all 22 players, so I get that it's a little harder for them. But anyway, Dad, moving into, our actual analysis of this game, gut check. How did you feel after this game? How did you feel during this game? What were the emotions surrounding this one?
You notice I put 3 different things in here for the gut check. Honestly, so the big takeaway. By the end of the game, I was just happy for the tie because we tried so hard to lose it catastrophically. The start of this game is we are totally in control, and then Ayers let them back into it. And this game got really drunk for a while. In fourth quarter and overtime with the no call on Dak's intentional grounding, the no call on DPI against Wicks. Green Bay converting on 4th and 6 to Golden, and that crazy lollipop balloon prayer pass that Dak completed on the sideline.
On the right sideline. He had two different ones. You had to be specific because the one on the left sideline to Pickens into double coverage, which was also a great catch, but like that was also like a crazy, like just floated up to him.
But the one to Turpin, he was just
that was like, and
he just looked like he's trying to throw it out of bounds.
I think everyone thought he was.
Done. And I think Nixon thought he was.
Yeah, I mean that it was all. What a crazy game. I guess my emotional gut check of that game. I can't be happy with the tie. Like that's the thing. Like in the moment, I was like, okay, thank God, at least we tied. But like, we were 7.5 point favorites. This is back-to-back weeks that you're over a touchdown favorites, and you go 0-1-1. That like you can't be happy with that. Like that's not right. Like I get that it's any given week, but
if you look at the big picture, but in the moment, it's like, oh man, thank God we got this tie.
Well, in the moment, you didn't even bring up the last play
we'll
with
talk about
7
that later,
seconds left
because it was like
the clock's running down.
It was a miracle they were able to get that chance at it.
I mean, like
I've got I have notes.
We'll talk all about the big moments of this game, but yeah, emotional wise, gut check wise, like I'm not happy with a tie. Like I was a little relieved in the moment, like that we managed to salvage a tie given like all the things that went wrong. But when you're looking at the game from a whole, like number one, ties suck. Number two, like we just started so strong. And then, I mean, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the big moments of this game. Let's go into that. And let's start with, as we always like to do, we're going to go as we always like to do, we're going to go chronologically through what we decided were we each picked 3 moments from the game, and we're going to go chronologically through them. And the first big moment of the game, in my opinion, is the one that completely swung the momentum, and that was the blocked extra point. At this point in the game, the Packers were up 13-0, and we had run 24 plays to the Cowboys 8 and had 168 yards to the Cowboys 21. That's how thoroughly we were dominating this game. And then special teams rears its ugly head again, and it's a simple extra point. You do this like multiple times a game. I mean, I guess if you're lucky, unless you're not scoring at all. But you do this all the time. And I think it's Musgrave on the right side, if I remember correctly, just doesn't, I think Matt LaFleur talked about it today. He's like, just didn't get a hand out. That hand got knocked down, and then he got beat. And just not good enough fundamentals. Either he is not good at it, doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing. And in that case, I would say again, Rich Bisaccia, it's your job to coach these guys, to have the correct fundamentals, to do this correctly. And if they're not performing, to put someone else in their place. And so when it keeps happening over and over again, it's on the coaching staff to fix this. And that wasn't the only gaffe from the special teams. And also the special teams did have its moments, like big 53-yarder, which we'll talk about, to tie the game at the end of regulation, making the kick at the end. Like, I get that it's a very short gimme kick, but they still got it done. There were other things, but then there were other moments, like every single kick in the second half, you are letting bounce in the landing zone and then fielding and getting it at the 20-yard line. Or every single punt, which I guess is more of a punt returner problem, every single punt is bouncing. Like, you're just letting the ball bounce over and over again, and you're giving up crazy amounts of field position. Like, we're starting at the 20 and having to go 80 yards on every single drive while the opponents are having to go 50. You give up a couple of huge returns also. Brandon McManus has to make 2 tackles on kick returns in one game. That should never happen. That should never ever happen. Notes.
He's like, he did a good job, hurt himself.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so but we're still doing our big moments, so we'll keep stay on the rails there. That blocked extra point completely swung momentum, made it 13-2. Cowboys get the ball, et cetera, et cetera. Dad, what was your next big moment though?
So for me, kind of follows like when they're punting in Dallas territory. So this is the second one. At 13, they're up 13-2 in the second quarter, and it's 3rd and 5 at the Dallas 45. But at that point, they should be thinking 2 downs to make a first. So they pass it, and then they end up just giving up and just punting it away. And that's the second time in the first half. If you trust your defense, say, I'm going to punt, pin them, and trust the defense. Well, trust the defense to stop them in midfield if you don't make it, and trust your offense to make it against what's obviously a bad Dallas defense. At this point, the 3 drives, Dallas, you converted 6 yards on drive 1, 15 yards on drive 2, 4 yards on drive 3. And they did this, and at this point, it's already twice they've punted after getting into Dallas territory. One was 4th and 2, and one was 4th and 5. And it just kind of fits in with a lack of killer instinct. They're like, okay, we're going to try to bury this team and put them away. As opposed to, I'm worried about making a mistake.
We talked about this. If there's anything in the play calling that I didn't like, it's at the end of OT, which we'll talk about. I don't hate punting there. I know it's counterintuitive for me because I normally am super aggressive. Like, you should always be going for it on 4th down. But there's an argument to be had that in a game where you are favored and you are leading, like, yes, the expected value of going for it on 4th is better over like a large sample size. But also going for it on 4th a lot introduces more variance into the game. And I can understand the argument that in a game you're favored, in a game you're leading, you want as little variance as possible. You just want a steady game that's like going to play out kind of just over time. Like the better team is going to just make more good plays, and there are going to be less like pivotal points that will end up swinging the game one way or another. You want to introduce as few of those as possible because you're introducing more random chance, and you want less random chance in a game where you're better. In hindsight, it's bad because you probably could have gotten that, and you probably maybe could have gone up, 16-2, like regain momentum. Like you could have regained that momentum there. But in the moment, I understood kind of where they were coming from.
I was supposed to say, I want to know what like the coward index was on each of those punts, how high it was.
Yeah,
I didn't try looking that up. But I think the analytics favored going for it in both instances.
I see what you're saying, but I think I understand the argument for why you would maybe punt there. Like, I still would probably go for it, but I understand the argument.
I can understand that there is an argument. I would not agree with it. How's that?
Fair enough. My next big moment is the strip sack right before the end of the first half. At this point, we're up 13-9. Cowboys had just scored a touchdown, and Love gets or Walker gets beat, in Love's blind side. Love is like winding up to pass, gets it smacked out, just never sees the guy, which like is understandable because he's in his blind side. But that immediately leads to another touchdown, and it's suddenly 16-13, and you're losing after dominating the whole first half, and you're down 3. And like all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, what happened? Like how? And Dallas is getting the ball to start the second half. So it's like, we're in trouble now when we should be like absolutely crushing this game. And yeah, so that was the next big moment. I mean, obviously, like it led to points. It was kind of a turning point in the game. Like you start to, you're down in the score now after like being better. But yeah, that was my next big moment.
Yeah, it was frustrating. And I was already thinking about how, they're going to get the ball in the second half when Dallas scored to make it 13-9. It's like, okay, well, we got to, see what happens here because they're going to get the ball again.
Well, and I want to know, I have zero problem with like people have been like, oh, why are you being so aggressive? Like at the end of that, you have to be aggressive when you have the ball. Like, and like, what are you going to do? Turtle? Like kneel it out to half? Like, obviously, yes, it would have worked out better, but like, you can't do that. Like, you can't just like, okay, we're going to go to halftime. Like they just scored a touchdown and we're just going to give them the ball back to start the second half. Like that you have to have the mentality that you want to go score every time you get the ball.
I mean, then that just fits right in with my previous punting.
Yeah. But that's different because that's like a fourth down. This is like a drive. Like it's first, second. Like some people are like, oh, they should have just ran it and like ran the clock out. It's like, no, it's like first down. You got plenty of time to get in field goal range. Like I don't have any problem with like trying to score there. You should be trying to score there. But yeah, what was your next moment?
Yeah, it wasn't like they got it with 30 seconds left or less. They had plenty of time to try to go down and get a field goal.
Yeah. Anyway, what'd you have left?
So I'm jumping to, well, actually, I'm so late in the game that you are up again.
Oh, am I? I see we jumped. Yeah. Yes, okay, you're right. Yeah, so this fast forward all the way to the end of the fourth quarter because essentially the teams were just trading scores for like the entire second half. Like just back and forth. And we'll talk about that in the defense and how the defense played in this one. But the one I wanted to focus on was the Cowboys' last drive in regulation. So if you're the Packers, you go up 34-30. There's a minute and 45 left, and so the other team needs a touchdown. All you need is one stop. You are up 4. Like, a field goal does nothing for them. They need to get in the end zone. And the following happens. A return to the 46-yard line, where McManus has to make a tackle. Again. Or that was the first time, actually. But bad special teams. And then one incompletion. Then a 7-yard pass, a 19-yard pass, a 28-yard touchdown. 54 yards and a touchdown in a minute and 2 seconds. Like, and that was like all you had to do was stop a touchdown. And it was so easy. It was so easy for them to score. It was so easy for them to get like already at midfield, like just right away. Thank you, special teams again. But then the defense just no resistance at all. And honestly, like, you can argue, it's like, well, at least they left us some time for us to score.
Right. Big brain.
Yeah.
That was the big brain.
They knew
move.
They weren't getting the stop, so they were like, let them score quick. I did actually, there was a small part of me that was like, honestly, just let them score because we need at least like 30 seconds to go down there and kick a field goal. But yeah, that was really disappointing though, because I mean, you need one stop. The defense had not played well the whole game, but you needed one stop and you couldn't get it. And that was really disappointing.
Yeah. After the first 3 possessions, the defense really couldn't do anything. But they had like Dallas had 5 touchdowns on 6 possessions there through a stretch. And actually, I was looking at the second quarter possessions, 6 straight touchdowns between the two teams.
Between
combined.
the 2 teams, yeah. I mean, the Packers scored on every possession in the second half, which like should be enough to win you the game.
barely got it to overtime.
Well, and the only times we settled for field goals, I think, were time running out in regulation and time running out in overtime.
Yep.
Like when there was time, we were just scoring touchdowns every time, but it didn't matter because we couldn't stop anything. But what was your next big moment?
Yeah, and the only 2 times we punted were from midfield.
That's true.
It wasn't like we got completely shut down.
Well, we'll talk all about that. What was your next big moment?
So I'm going now into OT, and after the Turpin play that we talked about, and Dallas has the ball on the 5-yard line, 1st and goal at the 5, to go up a touchdown and really kind of force issue, though, at least now with the rules, it wouldn't end the game. But Parsons chasing down Dak for that, sack
it
for
made the difference.
No yards at the 4-yard line in OT. Yeah, that I think certainly saved a touchdown. If he doesn't make that tackle, Valentine is drifting away in coverage, and I don't think Cooper's got a good enough angle to stop him. I think Dak is almost certainly going to score there, like he ran it in earlier in the game. And Parsons had just come back into the game from like resting his back. I think they're running him in and out on different plays to give him just and overall, I think our players were out of gas during that game in the heat and all the plays. I was afraid Sean Ryan was going to keel over.
Yeah, Sean Ryan was sweating profusely the whole game. But, I mean, you can say that, but they were bad for most of the game. Like, they didn't get tired in the second quarter. Like, it's like that. The defense struggled for most of the game. But anyway, you actually have the next moment, too.
Yeah, so this now we're going to Green Bay's one possession of overtime. And this whole possession was kind of a mess, but especially once they got into the red zone. It just completely fell apart.
I mean, it's a big time management. It's really time management and play and like play calling in terms of like why are
time down and distance?
Go ahead.
Understanding
I'm
what the
stepping
situation is, and what you should be calling. Yeah, I was like, what are you thinking while you're doing this? After the 7, so let's get to where it really falls apart. After the 7-yard rush by Emmanuel Wilson to get Green Bay a first down at the 12-yard line, with 32 seconds left and a timeout, this should be all the time in the world. Very easy to take 3 shots at the end zone.
Yes.
And you got a timeout in your pocket as well. They then proceed to throw a wide receiver screen in the flat for a 3-yard loss. And so then they burn that timeout right away. It's gone. And they've lost 3 yards. And then after that, 28 seconds left and now no timeouts left. They throw a little screen to Wilson for a 1-yard loss with 21 seconds.
Well, I will say,
the end zone.
to be fair, it was not a screen. It was a check down.
It was a check down. Okay.
It was not designed to go to him. Love needs to like I think Love
That should be just thrown
autopiloted
out of the
to
end zone.
it does, yeah. Love autopiloted to like, okay, I'm under pressure, I throw my check down. And maybe, maybe Wilson makes a guy miss in another universe, but I think Love just needs to know I need to get this ball like out of bounds. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it gets those are the
dicey.
two best plays
and then it gets
of this series. Because then at this point, there's still 21 seconds left. And now they're back on, I think, the 16. And they're just kind of milling around. They don't actually get the ball snapped until there's 6 seconds left. They just 15 seconds just disappear. And he throws it into the end zone to try to hit Golden. If that ball is deflected up in the air instead of down, the clock's going to run out.
Yep.
It hits the ground with 1 second left. And like, thank you, whoever's slow on that button.
I was going to say, I mean, even if
quick on that button.
Quick on that button. I mean, even if they just had a like regular home clock operator, like everyone joked Jerry's firing that guy or woman after the game.
Was that get all over social media that clock guy is getting fired after that?
Exactly.
Yeah. So instead of getting 3 shots at the end zone from the 12, they got 1 shot at the end zone from the 16. And, just by pure blind luck or an act of God, the bounce of the football, they even got the field goal attempt to tie it up. It was just crazy bad decision-making, bad play calling.
I mean, the play call I have the most, like, take the most umbrage with, we'll say, is the screen, the wide receiver screen to Golden there.
Yeah.
And, like, someone said, like, okay, it's a look where either you're running it or if you have the right numbers, you throw that screen really quickly. Like, I want to see, the clock can't run there. You can't afford to have the clock run there at all. Like, and right. Dobbs needs to do a better job of like being ready for Diggs to jump that. Diggs makes a great play on the ball. Like, he makes a great tackle there. Golden does a good job of holding on to it, honestly. But like, yeah, it's just, I don't like anything where the clock is going to run there and you have to blow it your last time out.
Yeah, it was the chance of getting that in was going to be low from the start. And if you watch, that must have been given away. There must have been a tell in there because the defender, is it Diggs? Is that who?
Yeah, Diggs made the play.
He's sprinting in there before the ball is thrown. Dobbs didn't have a prayer. If you started blocking him there, it would have been illegal. It would have been like...
It felt like a few things. It felt like we were afraid that if we left any time on the clock, they were just going to come down and kick it and we were going to lose. So like somehow it was like, oh, we have to use all the clocks. Like, or you could just go score a touchdown. Like, that's also an option. Like, we can just go score.
Cowardly play calling because they're afraid that they're going to lose to, I don't know, an 80-yard field goal by Aubrey.
I mean, that was kind of how the game was going in some ways, but like, just go score a touchdown. Have faith in your guys. Jordan Love is playing out of his mind in this game. He's playing on fire in this game. Just have faith in the offense and your quarterback. I feel like that's the big thing is like Matt LaFleur just had to have faith in his guys there, and he just, it felt like he just kind of like, tight. We're going to get tight. We're going to like, they got tight at the 12-yard line. Just go score a touchdown. They can't stop you. Every single time you've driven down the field in the second half, you have gotten points. Just go score a touchdown. Like, it was the screen to Golden that was like the big, like, oh, that's not like that.
What's that?
Happen.
Yeah, that kind of threw a wrench into things. And then I think they kind of panicked.
Yeah.
And didn't quite know what they wanted to do. Couldn't decide. Really slow decision-making when the clock was running because they hadn't figured out what they wanted to do.
I mean, and also like, that's an operation thing. Like usually, so on that second down that ended up being a check down to Wilson, usually there'll be 2 plays called, like when you're in a time crunch like that, and you'll run one, and then you'll run to the line and run the next one if the clock is running. That just needs to be done faster also. Like LaFleur, because the check down to Wilson was a Love decision. And like, I think that was kind of like, okay, when you're in the play itself, you just do what you usually are coached to do, which is like find the check down there. And like, that's just one of those things where it's like in that situation, a check down does not do much for you. It's like a bad thing. So like, I think that's just something like he needed to realize. And then like, I think just the whole operation, they needed to be faster getting into that next play. And honestly, mate, like, I like that they didn't just spike it, I guess, because they didn't just accept the tie. But man, they really, it got way too close. It should.
And we were only a second away from wishing we had spiked it.
Yeah, honestly,
I thought it was going to run out.
When it gets to 6 seconds, you should just spike it. Like, you can't guarantee you're going to run a real play there. Like, there's no guarantee.
We're watching and say, oh, they might not finish this play, but it's taking so long.
Yeah,
to get the snap. I was like, and this is why in the end, it's like. I felt great.
That's why I was like, it was a little relief because of how like chaotic it got, but still, when you look at it, it's still not great.
People, you're talking bad about the tie. Hate the tie. Like, nope. It's much better than losing. It's much better than losing.
It's better than losing, but it's not as good as winning.
When you're staring a loss right in the face,
yes,
with a second left, like that tie feels pretty good right now.
But still, there were a lot of ways we could have won this game. Also, there were a lot of ways we could have lost it, but there were a lot of ways we could have won it too. But Dad, let's move on to our, big picture takeaways from this game. Talking about, what were the standouts? What were the things that, worried us? What were things that might be issues going forward? We already talked about the special teams. I don't know what else there is to say. Like, just stop making catastrophic errors. I mean, good on, the trio of Orzik, Whalen, and McManus making that big 53-yarder. Like, that all three of them, like, that, and like the whole unit really, like that was a big kick. That was like, it doesn't fully absolve them of all of their sins, but like you have to give them credit for that and for the like kick to tie the game at the end of the game. But
and as we mentioned before, like shout out McManus for pulling like double duty on those kickoffs,
multiple. But that's the thing is like even like if you say okay, there's that, like they got the extra point blocked, but they did make 2 big kicks. The like return, like allowing huge returns, and I get that like Turpin is a really good returner, but still, and then just not fielding any kickoffs for the entire second half. Like,
I'm going to talk about that.
Okay, well, let me just throw it to you for that. Let's just lead into that. Go ahead. First big takeaway.
I'll go first. Yeah, so they had Green Bay on their kickoff returns. They had 3 different times where the kick returner let the ball bounce inside the 5. I think there's 1 or maybe 2 where I guess Savion Williams is at the 5. He backs up into the end zone instead of moving forward and catching it. And then he hasn't been coached to say, no, take this thing out of there. We don't want to have to go 80 yards. 41 seconds left in the game. Oh, sorry, left in the first half, up 4.
Before the strip sack. Yeah.
Before the strip sack. So this helps contribute to them being deep in their own territory.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when you strip sack with, even though there were only like 13 seconds left in the half, Dallas was able to get a touchdown out of it.
I mean, because it was like, because here's the thing. Let's say it bounces, he catches it in the end zone, and he returns it like let's say worst case he gets out to like the 15. Let's say he gets to, that's only a 5-yard difference. Like, but you're getting like the 20 is so, getting at the 20 is so punitive in the compared to where you should be getting it.
In the modern NFL, it's like it feels like terrible. It feels like you're starting at the 5.
I mean, you ate a 15-yard penalty, like to start a drive. Essentially, like that's how it is. Yeah. Like just even if it bounces in the landing zone and you field it in the end zone, you should be returning it. You should 100% be returning it. I don't understand after the first time that, because that's the thing, happens once. Oh, like that's on the returner. Like that's a mistake. You can't do that. It happens the second and the third time, the coach is telling him to do that. Why is Bisaccia telling him to take a knee on a ball that bounces in the landing zone? Like, yes, he should not be letting it bounce in the landing zone. He should be fielding the ball. But after that, why is the coaching staff not screaming at him to take the ball out of the end zone? Screaming at him to take the ball out of the end zone after the bounce.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
In both times, like the last two, they're late in regulation, they're down 3, 4:50 left, and then in overtime, down 3 with 4:40 left.
So, it's okay, if you don't so I get that the kickoff rules are new. So if you don't know them, here's what they are. You have to land it in that landing zone between where like everyone is lined up and the goal line. If it doesn't land there, or I think it's like between the 20 and the goal line. Either way, if it doesn't land there, like it lands in the end zone, then you get it at the 35. If it lands there and then bounces into the end zone, you get it at the 20. Like that's a huge difference. You need to be fielding those, number one, and then number two, you need to be returning those, like we said. And it really put the offense in a bind several times in this game, which the offense did a great job of like overcoming. But like, come on, special teams, like
2 out of 3 anyway.
We're getting the ball at the 20, they're getting the ball at the 46. Like that's the difference. Like where the offenses are starting on every drive, like they're getting the ball at the 50-yard line. We're getting the ball at our own 20. We got to go 30 extra yards every single time.
Yeah, they did bail us out by getting a couple penalties on their returns.
Yes, but they had a couple huge returns there, like the last drive, their touchdown drive to take the lead at the end of regulation. Like I said, ball at the 50. Like
that was the one where we just need to stop them here because they have to go the whole length of the field. Well, they didn't have to go the whole length of the field with the offense.
No, they did not. But yeah, anything else you want to say about the special teams? I mean, that was bad.
I was just focusing on the whole kickoff. Like, how could they not be coached say, "Oh, we don't want to just surrender these 15 yards without a fight"?
Yeah, and then I mean, do you want to talk about Golden at punt return real quick? Because
I was afraid.
My God, he is not protecting himself. Number one, dude, you have to catch the ball. The ball can't bounce. One of these times, the ball is going to take a weird bounce and like bounce into your shins or like bounce backward into a teammate. I mean, like it's going to end up in a change of possession if you keep not fielding these punts. And then also, he catches it, spins, just gets immediately ran over like a steamroller. I mean, I'm just glad he was okay.
He was gonna like be out cold. I like, what is he? He's doing a spin move in the middle of an open field without anybody next to him.
Well, like there's a guy coming on the right side, and like it's blocked, I think, better than he expected it to be. Like I think he expected that to get pushed into him, and so he felt like he had to spin off of it. But he ends up just spinning, like with no one around him, directly face first, like into a Dallas guy coming screaming downfield with no one blocking him.
See that guy running straight at him without a blocker in the way, just full speed right in the face.
I mean, it was a miracle he was like okay, like that was a massive hit. But yeah, so the special teams is like a complete mess. Like it's a complete and total like complete mess. It's really bad. Anything else you want to say on that, or should we move on?
Let's move on to
okay, I have a positive. Man, Jordan Love was really good in this game. Like really on fire in this game. I have a bunch of numbers for you. 31 of 43 for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. 4th highest EPA per dropback on the week and the 2nd highest total EPA on the week. Was only 3 of 11 for 9 yards under pressure, so that wasn't amazing, but only took 1 sack on 13 pressures, so avoided negative plays really well. On 3rd down, I had him charted out as going like converting 6 of 10 there on like passing plays, and also got 2 conversions via penalty. One was a 12 men, so like that's entirely him like rushing everyone to the line and getting that penalty. And then he also took a face mask that got us a conversion as well. Overall on 3rd down, he was 6 of 9 for 123 yards passing and 25 yards rushing with 1 touchdown on 3rd down. Just clutch play after clutch play after clutch play in this game. I mean, just watching the game. I mean, we scored on every possession in the second half, which we already said. And then just going through. With 4 minutes left in the game, 10-play, 80-yard touchdown drive, like to take the lead. A big 18-yard completion to Dobbs on 3rd and 8. The 15-yard touchdown to Dobbs was on 3rd and 10. And then you follow that up with a 7-play, 39-yard drive in 43 seconds to set up the game-tying field goal, which is also really nice stuff from Josh Jacobs, like making guys miss in the open field to like really set that up on like a bit of a check down there. And then a 13-play, 64-yard drive to set up the game-tying field goal in overtime again. And like that 4th down in overtime to Golden, like is just absolutely nails. Like to hit him in the middle of the field there in traffic, and a nice catch by Golden too in traffic. I mean, just over and over and over and over again, just answering the call. Like just like whenever the team needed a score, going down and getting those points. And like I also wanted to also highlight the offensive line wasn't amazing, but was way better than last week. So this week it was a 28.3% pressure rate. This is all per NFL Pro. Versus last week was a 38.7% pressure rate, a 2.76 second time to throw compared to 2.56 the week before, a 3.14 time to pressure compared to 2.42 the week before. That's the difference between being 2nd best on the week this week and 4th worst on the week last week. Like, so the offensive line was not amazing. Like, I get it, you're missing your best lineman, your fifth best lineman, and your sixth best lineman probably, but a much better showing this week at least.
Yeah, and it felt like they settled down as the game went on. For the most part, they had trouble like getting anything going in the run game early, and then it started to get a little better.
I mean, just the Walker like giving up kind of that, strip sack, and like it was a longer developing play also, but like that was really the big, like only big glaring, like really bad moment in the game from the offensive line, I felt like.
Yeah, and then you mentioned the Golden catch on fourth. I want to like stand up for Golden to say, oh, he kind of double caught that. It's like, no, he didn't.
No, he did not. Yeah, why did they say he double caught it?
That thing
it was
up.
Like perfectly
Solid catch
clean.
And took it to the ground. Yeah, complete control the whole way. Stop throwing shade.
Exactly, like he
on our man's name.
Yeah, they were like double catch there. It was like you see the replay. It's like no, that was very clean actually. But yeah, so I mean, Love was great in this game, wasn't he? Like, I mean, just many times answering the call.
Right, just engineered drive after engineered drive to respond as they're going back and forth in that game.
Yeah,
and making plays when they needed it that whole second half.
Yeah. I mean, we got a tie, but it really, like, he played 40 points should get you a win, and we'll talk about the defense. But like, what was the next thing you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so I'll talk about Micah Parsons next. So on a further review, second look at it,
he had a really good game.
He had a good game.
No, he had a
fantastic.
really good game. No, it was borderline fantastic. He had 10 pressures.
Yeah,
he had 10 pressures. That's a ton. It didn't feel as impactful during the game, and also Dak had a lot of dropbacks. So like the rate isn't like 10 pressures is probably more like 7 in like a normal game. But like still, 10 pressures is a ton.
He led all 103 edge rushers on the week in pass rush grade, according to PFF, at 94.3. And he also had the most pressures on the week with 10. Second in pass rush productivity among edge rushers. So as you said, there were a lot of plays, so you get more chances to rush the pass. That was one reason why he's probably getting gassed at the end. He was 7th among 75 edges with at least edge rushers who had 10 pass rush opportunities. So he had the 7th best win rate at 31%. He was also tied for the league on the week in true pass set pressures with 6, and 6th in true pass set pass rush grade at 91, and 5th in pass rush productivity in true pass sets. He made the touchdown saving and possibly game saving sack. He came within a whisker of forcing a fumble on a pass rush. Kind of a similar play to how
the uppercut. He almost got it.
Yeah, similar to the ball getting knocked out from Love's hand from behind as he came around. He just barely missed it. As Dak. I think Dak had no idea he was there. He's just moving the ball in kind of a natural motion, and it just barely got out of his reach. Now, the one thing I said that wasn't all good is his time to pressure was not that fast, and so it was like of all pass rushers who had at least 3 pressures, his was the 3rd slowest according to NFL Pro.
Yeah, that's fair. It did feel like there were times where Dak could really hold the ball.
So that was, I say, it was a good game, but it wasn't a perfect game. It wasn't a fantastic game. It was a little slow getting there. Everybody was slow getting there for Green Bay.
My next thing I wanted to talk about was just the pass rush in general. Like, it just wasn't because outside of Micah getting 10, the rest of the team combined per PFF had 9. Like, there was no one else was really doing anything.
Half the pressures
in this game. Gary had 0 pressures and Van Ness had 2. Like, that's just not good enough. It was just a 24.4% pressure rate overall. That was 22nd on the week. Time to pressure, they were 17th on the week. Time to throw was the 9th longest on the week. He was able to hold the ball for a long time. And also, shout out to Dallas. Like, they had a good game plan. They got the ball out quick when they could. He didn't have to do a lot of long dropbacks. They were able to stay in manageable down and distances for most of the game, which I'll talk about with the run game later. But just not good enough. I mean, Gary was the league leader in sacks coming into this week, and to not get a pressure in this game is really disappointing. Losing Wyatt really was tough. I think they really missed him as an interior presence. It was just not good enough from the other guys, I would say, is the big thing.
Yeah, the comment I heard was Wyatt's agent should be on the phone with the Packers right now about an extension. About that, what about that extension? As soon as my man went out, the defense went from giving up 30 yards in the first 3 possessions to touchdown.
we'll talk about it because the run defense was still not great with Wyatt in there. But yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah,
I'm sure his agent
they
will
clearly
gloss over
missed
that.
him. They clearly missed him in the pass rush game, like to have another pass rusher out there. And Brooks played well, which we'll talk about. But I think Wyatt's just been quietly like one of the better interior pass rushers in the league through like 3 weeks, and they really missed him. But yeah, so the pass rush was not good enough in this game. I mean, anytime you give up 40 points, there's not a whole lot going on well on defense.
There's something wrong on defense.
Yeah.
We hope. I mean, unless the offense was absolutely catastrophic.
I mean, like the Cowboys' offense is good, but like they're missing 2 interior starters, like on the offensive line. They're missing their best receiver. It's not like they're like running like all systems go like for the Cowboys. But anyway, what was your last big takeaway?
So mine is the running backs are doing the work again. Green Bay was 7th on the week as a team in yards after contact per attempt at 3.59, according to NFL Pro. And Wilson was tied for 5th best in the league on the week at 4.5 yards after contact out of 51 qualifying running back or all running backs. He had the 5th most yards after contact.
They've been mixing Wilson in a little bit more, the past couple of weeks, and he's looked good. Yeah,
he was getting a lot of work today. I don't know if Jacobs was dinged up or a little tired, but they definitely ramped up Wilson's usage in this game. And now on the flip side of the running backs doing the work, the reason they're doing the work is yards before contact. Green Bay was 20th on the week at only 1.13. Honestly, this is an improvement over the league average, which is 0.79 and 25th best in the league.
I mean, it was only their second. It is better.
It's their second, but they did do better than this once. It was their second best performance of the year. Against Detroit, it was 0.26 before contact. Against Cleveland, it was 0.33. And in week 2 against Washington, it was 1.32.
Okay.
So, but I will, however, in this game, give a shout out to Darren Kennard, who had the second best run blocking grade for all offensive linemen on the week in the league at 88.8, according to PFF. That's out of 106 offensive linemen. He was second best. However, besides Kennard, Morgan was 81st in run blocking grade. Jenkins was 108th. Walker was 122nd. And Ryan was 127th.
And here's the thing, though, Dad. So much better than last week. Still so much better than last week.
Oh yeah, still way better. So yeah, I didn't see any like flashing red numbers in the teens and 20s.
Yeah,
for blocking grades this week.
I mean, they got to figure it out. Hopefully, we can get healthier over the bye. Like, it's a slog right now in the run game. But I will say also, the running backs did a really good job in the passing game too. Like working with the ball in their hands. Like Jacobs had that huge 25-yard catch and run. I believe I think that one was at the end of regulation to get the game tying kick. And Wilson had a couple of nice, like catch and runs, I think, if I remember correctly. They did a good job, not just in the running game, but in the passing game as well.
And Jacobs' score,
I mean, he looked good.
Sweet.
He looked good in this game. This is the best he's looked this year, I think.
I think so. That change of direction and the hole to get open, and then he just dusts the defensive back who's trying to cut the angle off, and he goes right behind him. And he guys I don't even know if he lays a finger on him.
I don't think he did. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
that might have been one of my favorite single plays of the game.
And that's the thing is, like, it was probably the best the running game has looked through 4 weeks, and it still wasn't great. And it was against a bad Cowboys defense, so it does still need to get better. Is the thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, what about the best? Maybe one of our better runs of the year was, what was that? 1 yard, 1 yard touchdown,
something like that. But anyway, last thing I wanted to touch on, and then I'm going to ask you one question. But the last thing I wanted to touch on was the run defense. The Cowboys had a 50% rushing success rate in this game, which is really good. Half of their carries get the yards they need to. That's actually surprisingly their season average though. So they just have a really good run game, but they're missing 2 of their better linemen in this game. They're missing their center and their right guard. So you should be able to do better than that. That was the 5th highest on the week also. So it's still really bad. it just felt like they were able to stay ahead of the sticks really easily. A 50% rushing success rate on first down and a 60% rushing success rate on second down. Like that kind of like attests to that. Like they were just able to get in those third and manageables, not a lot of third and longs. Like that kind of like makes it so the pass rush like can't really pin their ears back as well. Like it just like cascaded and made everything harder. And like it was specifically the interior was just getting like ran over, which is really disappointing when you're going against like backup offensive linemen. A 57% rushing success rate inside versus a 41.7% rushing success rate outside. So like just getting gashed along the interior. And you could say like, yeah, we lost Wyatt, but they were still at a 66% rushing success rate on inside runs in the whole first half, which is like when Wyatt was mostly playing. So like they were successfully running it inside like the entire game. And like that's like a problem. And like that was something that we worried about coming into the year. And through 3 games, it hadn't been a problem. Or like through, I guess, like 11 quarters, it hadn't been a problem until like the very end of that Browns game. But it was a problem in this game, and hopefully like we can make some adjustments going forward and have it not be a problem. But it was an issue in this game.
Yeah, I think a bunch of things are kind of coming together here. I feel like also the middle of the field was open for a lot of the passes.
Well, I was going to actually ask you, like, is there anything else you want to say about the run game? Because I was going to ask you something else.
Okay, because I feel like there's a little bit of a cascade of effects. So we're not getting to the quarterback quick enough.
Well, I was going to ask about what you thought about
the further downfield.
I was going to ask what you thought about the corner play in this game. Because you had we were watching this game together, and you had a lot to say about the corner 2 spot specifically. Keyshawn was still pretty good, but I almost said Stokes. I almost called him Stokes. That's where we are right now.
I think Stokes had a pass breakup this week for the Raiders before he got hurt.
Hobbs and Valentine really struggled in this game. I mean, Hobbs.
I was talking about how much Hobbs was getting burnt for a while. You remember he got beat a couple of times, and then Valentine. I mean, Valentine
just didn't touch. Like I think it was Pickens, I believe, or I can't even remember. But he like just comes screaming upfield on whoever it is. Might have been Tolbert actually, and doesn't even lay a finger on him. Like because he's so sure the guy's gonna like cut outside because like the clock is ticking that he just doesn't even like square him up at all. Like he goes to where he thinks he's gonna go and just gets left in the dust. And like yeah, I mean I get that it's hard to cover when the pass rush is like not having a great day, but like, is that going to be an issue? Like if the pass rush can't get home, does everything like pass defense wise fall apart? Like that is a concern after this
answer
game.
To that might be yes. I think one thing that's works so well in the beginning is the pass rush gets in the backfield quickly. So that takes away the deep shots. The corners don't have to cover as long.
And they can sit on and the corners can sit on the underneath routes also.
Right. And the safeties and linebackers are closer to the line of scrimmage by the time the ball is thrown. So they're there to make quick. One thing we were doing early in the year, even if it was complete, tackle the ground right away. Tackling was bad.
The tackling was bad in this game too.
Tackling was bad in this game.
Yeah.
So that we got to get back to the fundamentals.
That was the weird one. Like that one, I feel like I'm willing to like chalk up to like a 1-game thing because the tackling had been fantastic through 3 weeks for the most part. And then it was just like, it was really off in this game.
Yeah. And I think Cooper had a bad game.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly.
Yeah. There were a lot of stuff in this game that was messy and sloppy from the defense. I mean, the corners like didn't look great in this game. Hopefully they can be better going forward.
Yeah. We always watched that game in the moment. It's like, ugh.
Lot of wide open guys.
Eat again.
Yeah. A lot of wide open guys. But anyway, I think that does it for our big takeaways. Let's move on to our last section. Dad, player of the game, who'd you have?
Well, why don't you go first?
Okay, well, Jordan Love. Like, kind of obviously. Like, he essentially was just like, all right, guys, get on my back. We're scoring 40. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but we're putting up 40.
Yeah, how is your back doing, Love, after this game? Somebody asked a question. Love, how is your back doing after carrying the whole team in this game?
Exactly. Like he was fantastic. And he was
and the coaching staff.
Yeah, he was very clearly my player of the game in this one.
Yeah, so I had, but in interest of variety, I'm going to say shout out to Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned him. I mean, 3 touchdowns. Like if we had won this game, that would have been one of the storylines of the game. Like he was, and also like every big down, it was just like Doubs just smoking his guy or like out muscling his guy or just being better than the corner guarding him. Like he was on one in this game.
He caught 6 of 8 targets, 58 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 more first downs. So like 5 of his 6 catches were either a first
and
down
some
or
big
a touchdown.
conversions too. Like that big like 3rd and 8, I think it was, that I talked about. Like that was a big conversion, and like he had to have strong hands there.
Yeah, I was worried, that it just didn't look very promising the way it was developing, and he just plucks the ball in the air and just beats the guy for the ball.
Yeah. I mean, he had a great game. That's a very worthy player of the game in this one. And like,
he on the week, out of 81 wide receivers, he was 8th in receiving EPA, according to NFL Pro.
I'm surprised it was that low. 3 touchdowns, you'd think it'd be higher, but fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, so he looked good. It makes me think, like, why didn't you design a throw to Dobbs on that last possession of overtime?
Yeah, we love those like outside chances. We love those outside fades to Dobbs, and just like we're like, all right,
you should have had 3 chances.
Yeah. Anyway, and then your under the radar player of the game. Who'd you have? This is like a player that had a good game, but maybe got overshadowed a little bit.
So I'm going with Carl Brooks, who I think played more than he expected with Wyatt leaving the game. He tied for 4th in the league amongst all interior defensive linemen, 148 players on the week with 5 pressures. He also had the 7th highest PFF pass rush grade for D tackles at 82.1, plus an 82.2 pass rush grade on true pass sets. So he was doing well in pass downs anyway.
Yeah. He had to step up, and he had a solid game, all things considered. I had a few. I had Micah because I just didn't realize he had 10 pressures, and that like 0-yard sack essentially salvaged the tie. Like that was like a huge play in the game. I also had Elton Jenkins, who bounced back. He was the only lineman on the team to not allow a pressure in this game. He also, I think you had the 13th best pass blocking for all offensive line on the week, and the best of any center, according to PFF. So he had a good game. And then also honorable mention, Brandon McManus, a 53-yarder straight down the pipe, good from probably 60 to tie the game and send it to overtime is a huge kick, and like maybe got lost in the shuffle of everything that happened in overtime. But I did want to shout him out. And then he also made the game tying kick. Really all 3 of those guys, Orzik, Whalen, and McManus together, like shout them out for like getting that operation down for those 2 big kicks, and also a couple of big tackles in the kickoff game. So, and one of them was on one with a penalty. Right, but like he made a kick after taking a big shot too. Like he was holding his back, like I think it was after that tackle, and he ended up making. I get it was only like a 20-something yarder, but still like had to make it. Right.
They were talking about, well, if he's concussed, gets taken out of the game, then what are the Packers going to do?
They said that, and I was like, don't put that out there. I was like, don't put that out there in the ether. I don't want to think about that.
Maybe we would have called those last 3 plays differently.
Maybe. Yeah, it's true. Butterfly effect. But anyway, any final things you wanted to touch on, Dad, or should we get out of here?
You get out of here like the Packers feel like
just run.
It's kind of funny. It's like I feel like we screwed up this game, but I also feel like we got out of there with a tie. It's like it's everything at once.
In the moment, I was relieved, but like looking back on it,
I'm
like,
not that annoyed. I'm
still annoyed. I'm annoyed. I'm very annoyed that we tied this game.
I'm still mostly relieved. I'm like, okay.
I mean, we
it's
just
not what we wanted, but we got out. But we got out with a tie.
We just have to regroup over the bye and figure out like what is going on these past 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're really feeling the effects of losing 2 starters and possibly our top backup. It's possible to.
We scored 40 points. That was not the issue. Like we scored every drive of the second half. Like that, the offense was not the problem. Really,
I'm sure it would have made the offense much better.
Against the Browns, it was definitely a thing.
Would have made the defense much better.
Sure,
if we had our offensive lineman in.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I don't understand why the defense was so poor in this game. But hopefully, we're able to bounce back going into week 6. Next week is the bye week. We'll be doing a bit of a check-in on how the team has done through a quarter of the season so far. It's already a quarter of the season down, which is kind of crazy to think about. But so we'll be doing 1 episode next week. Just kind of keep that, and we won't be doing a preview this week either. So this will be the only episode this week. But then when we get back to like having a game every week, we'll be back to doing 2 every week. So keep your eyes tuned for that. But anyway, thank you again for listening. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe, like, leave a review, tell a friend, etc., etc. Follow us on Blue Sky at Father Son Packer. But yeah, that'll do it for us today. And until next time, go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.